So I'll let you go.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today and also our guest panelists who you'll hear more from later. So really just jumping straight into what we're going to cover today and welcoming you to First Flight. So in terms of what we're looking to cover, we are going to find a little bit more about you. Don't worry, it's not going to be too taxing. Then we're going to just talk about what First Flight actually is, how to get involved, a little bit more detail on that 2-day workshop and beyond as well. And then Bede and Archer have kindly joined us to talk about their own kind of stories. And then finally, very importantly, how to apply to First Flight.
So why first flight? Chris.
Yeah, just thinking about that actually, any of those thoughts that you've got on those questions and you find the chat disabled, the Q&A button, although it might not be a question, you might want to make that a statement. So what we're going to do is come back to that at the end of this session just to sort of see if anyone's got any questions. But if you've just got a statement of it's bloody hard or it's bloody great, then just put it into the Q&A instead of the chat if you can't do the chat, and we'll come back to some of the feedback from everybody. So I'd like to welcome you to this brand new initiative, which is First Flight, which is powered by Liberty Hive and Real View Marketing. Everyone's going to do their own introductions. I'll start with mine. We're not going to talk about ourselves much, don't worry, but it's important you know what we are and what we do and where we've come from. So my name's Chris Braithwaite. I've had a near 40-year TV sales career in TV sales, spanning ITV, Channel 4, and latterly Netflix. So I'm really the commercial salesy guy in the Liberty Hive team. We are a tech business fundamentally, which connects people to jobs in advertising. So that's our elevator pitch of what we are. We do have a candidate base of 5,000 plus people looking for a new job, or a new challenge or a new change. We don't judge anyone why they want to use us, but there's lots of different reasons. But effectively, it's about change. So we feel the pulse of the industry because we talk to everybody and we talk to employers. We find out the opportunities, the challenges, and the trends. And a very big trend is kind of why we're here today. And we're going to explain further of that trend and why we're doing what we're doing. But really, I hope you can carry on with us on what is an inaugural journey for First Flight. So we all learn together. Over to Kate.
Hi, folks. I'm Kate. I co-founded Liberty Hive with Laura, who you met just a moment ago. And I wanted to add another stat to the mix, but we didn't have very many stats from that first section. So I'm going to just tell you a stat. And yeah, for entry levels across media, marketing, and advertising, those roles have fallen by 20% over the last year. And I'm not telling you that to be ultra depressing, but why I'm telling you that is because if you're sending out applications, and we saw there that some people are sending over 50, 15, maybe more than that, and you're hearing nothing back, it's not you. It's just a really, really tough market. AI is everywhere. Agency restructure has been happening. We've got economic challenges. So it is tough. But that's exactly why we're here today and why we created First Flight. We kept hearing this from 18 to 23-year-olds that the market was tough. And getting a first foot in the door has never been harder. So, we wanted to do something about it. So 3-year-olds, that's you guys, hopefully on this call, who are looking to start in advertising, media, or marketing. And we're going to be working with James, brilliant James, who you will hear from in a moment. And it's going to be all sorts of things. It's not just a 2-day webinar. That's going to be amazing. It's also continuing to support you beyond that. So today is a taster about what's to come. We'll talk about what the application is, how you get involved, and we'll go from there. Over to James.
Thank you very much, Kate. Brilliant, James. I've been called a lot worse, don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry about that. So yeah, I'm James. I'm the founder of Real View Marketing. It's a company I set up nearly 2 years ago. So I've helped to curate this First Flight program that you're going to see today with Liberty Hive. In particular, the thing that you're going to see is the workshop and what that means, and then going forward as well. So the workshop's going to be hosted in London. So I know some of you asked some questions about the workshop. We'll come on to that. It's going to be hosted in an agency called AMV on Bankside, really beautiful offices. And yes, there will be a free lunch, hopefully. So that is something to motivate you guys. The program wasn't actually made just by the people you see on this call, people with years of experience. We've tried to really involve young people into this as well. So we've actually got 2 people, I think, on the attendee list, who are Zara and Poppy. Zara has been absolutely amazing on the logistics. She's at Bristol Uni. And we've also had Poppy as well, who's been designing our branding and our logo, so the stuff you see today. So really, this is something that we've been trying to build with people as well. Now, what is First Flight? So the workshop I want to start on in this first cohort, it's for people with genuine energy and passion for this industry. I know the classic of, I don't really know what it entails, the industry. I've never had experience. I think I saw something like that in the comment already. That's why this is here. You're going to be able to ask questions. You're going to be able to get real life experience through this program. And Liberty Hive are connected to loads of employers as well. So hopefully this acts as a pathway to that and a real way in. So in the workshop itself, you're going to hear real stories from people that are going to do interactive sessions. You're going to have things like presentation training, learning how to use AI skills effectively in the workplace. And also there's going to be some self-assessment as well. There are just 30 spots in this first pilot. So I want to make that clear. So it's slightly competitive, but as I said, it's really important just to get across your energy and passion in those applications. We are closing applications on the 4th of September, and then you'll hear from us by the 11th. So there's a little bit more details on that, but that's just some timings wise. After the workshop as well, so we've got that 2-day workshop on the 24th and 25th. That's where some of the real stuff happens as well. So you'll get access to mentoring, you'll get access to resources, and obviously there'll be an accreditation from being part of a program, something you can put on your LinkedIn. You get the mentors who are going to really guide you through the application process going forward as well. So resources might include how to help with your CV, personal branding, tips on how to stand out, how to connect with employers, those types of things. So really trying to open doors for you. So we don't want to just do the workshop, leave you. We're going to be with you for a few months, guiding you. So if that does sound like something you're really interested in, please do apply. And yeah, we'd love to see you there. Over to, I believe, it's Archard and Dee.
Great. And I'm just going to do a very quick intro to Bede and Arch, who kindly joined us today. And I was looking at your LinkedIns, and you both actually started in the industry pretty much within a few months of each other. So it's perfect. They're kind of 4 or 5 years into their career. So applying for those first jobs are still fresh in their minds. And really, it's sort of kind of asking you about how you got into the industry and some of your experiences. So I'd like to kick off with Archard. Hi, Archard. I don't know if you want to do a quick intro.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Archard. As Laura said, I've been in the industry for, actually, it's more like 7 years now, would you believe it? Nearly, but you can time flies. Yeah, I'm here to chat to you a bit about my experience, what I've been working on, and yeah, how I found it getting into it. So, looking forward to doing that. Go on, Laura.
Okay, well, your first question. So you went straight into the industry without going to university. You made what made you to decide on that route that was right for you? And what would you say to someone worried about skipping uni and if it will hold them back?
Sure. So for me, it's a bit of a story of turning something that didn't go very well into an opportunity. So I failed my AS level maths. And that kind of meant that it wasn't looking likely. I only basically would have finished the year with 2 A levels. So the options were stay at school for another year or go out and find an apprenticeship, because you didn't need you only need 2 A levels to kind of enter into an apprenticeship. So I just kind of the idea of going to a job seemed so much more exciting to me. And yeah, I started applying pretty much straight away into while everyone else was kind of focusing on looking at university places. I got onto the, looking at apprenticeship places, and eventually found my apprenticeship at Mediacom UK, and yeah, got stuck into that. I think it's if you think about whether it's going to be, if you're worried about going to work straight away rather than going to university, I think one of the ways to, although obviously degrees can be really important, and there are certain industries where having a degree is advantageous, and not having a degree might hold you back. Media isn't one of those industries, and there is almost no qualification that you can do at university that is going to give you as much value to an employer as experience and time in the workplace. So the experience I had really was that starting at 17, 18 meant that by the time I was competing with the graduates who were 21 who'd been to university, I had 3 years of work experience. And that put me at the ability to go into manager level jobs at the age of 21, whereas the people who come in straight from university or they had a degree, it wasn't relevant to, and the skills that you learn and the things you need to know about to work and operate in a media agency or to work in advertising can't be taught anywhere else other than on the job. So for me, it didn't hold me back at all. And I think if you're interested in this kind of industry, university certainly isn't something that is going to hold you back from being able to getting into and going far.
So basically, it gave you a good head start. And as Archard says, in the creative and marketing industry, there's no formal qualifications. So it's just really, really good point. So what was it like actually landing your first role and stepping straight into a demanding job, and any surprises?
It was really exciting. As you can imagine, you go from, the biggest surprise to me was there'd be no summer holiday, no breaks. All your friends get to finish school and then they have a nice couple of months off before they go to university in September. But I finished my exams in June, and then a few weeks later started working. So the first surprise is there's no more summer holidays and you've got to get on with it. So you go to work. It's really exciting because you're 1 week you're at school asking the teacher, can you leave the class, and the next thing you're at work and you're kind of left on your own all day to get on with get on with it and be an adult and get into the fast-paced world. So to me it was really exciting being somewhere like London with all the vibrant culture that goes on as well. Going out at lunchtime, it was just a buzz, it was just an energy that really excited me. So yeah, I didn't almost think about it. Those first few months were a blur, and you're just really excited to be involved. So yeah, it's a great experience.
Great. Obviously, from what you've been talking about, I think most people will be able to tell that Archer's quite entrepreneurial. And you've gone from working from a big network to working more for yourself. How's that change been? And what's the difference between working for that big corporation versus a smaller entrepreneurial company where you're in charge of your own hours, I suppose?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I think the distinction to make sure is that I definitely need that experience, having done the work that I've done for big agencies, and obviously you guys are looking to apply for jobs. There's so much valuable skills that there were to be learned from having that kind of that time. Taking that then out into working for myself now, obviously these things, the freedom of you can do exactly what you want when you want, but that's also adds a new kind of pressure where you have to decide and make, you have to then be confident in what you're doing and be confident in going out there and making things happen. And I think actually being entrepreneurial, working for yourself, trying to find a new business, etc., is quite similar to looking for that first job, because you kind of don't know what you're doing until you get it. You can't get any experience. You're in that catch-22 area, and you really have to rely on your own motivation and drive to make things happen in the day, because there's no one, like when you're at work, there's a manager, there's a task, there's a deadline, there's someone to check on you. But when you're in your as you guys are, phase of trying to find a job or phase of trying to find your first, second, third client, then it's all coming from you. So that's my experience, I think, so far.
Brilliant. And I'm going to roll the last two questions into one because they're quite similar. And I would just say, piece of advice to your 18-year-old self, and piece of advice to this cohort today about when you were starting out.
Sure. Well, I think because we got to pardon me, I did get to think about this question a little bit beforehand, and one thing that came to mind, if I was trying to give myself some advice, is that I would always make sure that, although having a focus on doing something like getting a job or working really hard at your job is really important, you need a balance point and something else to direct your focus into that's completely different. So basically what I'm advocating for is that everyone should have a hobby they're really passionate about. For me, that's rowing, and it's something I take quite seriously. So you can have although you might have a career and a piece of focus that's about your work, it's a really good balance to have something else that you can focus on. The reason I say this is that when I started off, I wasn't very balanced, and I focused a lot on the work. And you find you can basically, especially if you're applying for stuff, you could spend all day, literally all day, applying for things. There's an endless amount of stuff to apply for, and if you don't have that balance of something else to go out to and to do and to put your energy into, then that singular focus that you have can become quite draining and difficult. So for your own longevity, for your health and everything, I would say, make sure you have another hobby, something active, something fresh air, etc. So there we go.
Thanks. That is a great piece of advice and something we should all come back to on that. So thank you very much, Archid, and hello, Bede. Would you like to just say a quick hello?
Yeah, hi. I'm Bede. Similar time in the industry to Archad, but I am still working agency side. So I'm at a media agency specializing in sort of video planning and activation.
Brilliant, brilliant. So we are going to take you back to your university days. Can you tell us a little bit about the job search and what it was like? And honestly, be completely honest, was it smooth, stressful, a bit of both? How did you find it?
Yeah, I think it was very stressful. My approach. So I studied at university, which I loved, but I studied classical civilization, which didn't really have any obvious career paths attached to it. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest. And so I had a very scattergun approach. I was applying for everything with no real sort of focus. And I mean, my main motive at the time was to move to London. And I'd move to London, get the job, and then worry about what the job was later. So yeah, it was stressful. And I was applying to a large volume of jobs, and because my search was so disparate, obviously there wasn't like a one size fits all like cover letter or anything I could do. So yeah, it was stressful.
So when you did land that first role, and looking back, is there anything you'd wish you'd known before you started?
Yeah, I think an awareness of what I was applying for. I mean, that sounds really obvious, but I was just fortunate enough to come across an application with a recruiter who was hiring for a media agency. And then with that opportunity and meeting that person, I was able to sort of learn more about the industry. And I think obviously being more focused on what I wanted to do, and it was like learning about the industries that I was applying for would have really helped me. And particularly, even the job that I ended up getting was within print media, and it took me 6 months or so to realize that video is where I wanted to be. And I obviously I wish I put a bit more time in to know that beforehand. So yeah, I mean, just being more pointed in what I was applying for, I think.
Yeah. And I'm just conscious of time, so I'm going to just ask you for a moment early on in your career that gave you real confidence that you were in the right industry, given this disparate approach that you had, the scattergun approach, I think you called it. At what point did you think, oh yeah, this is the right industry? Did you just sort of get lucky?
Yeah, I think it was my first video client was Compare the Market. And I think obviously I'd seen the Meerkat adverts like as a kid and like growing up, and then it was just sort of like I was suddenly booking these campaigns. I was part of that process, and it was a real it was a strange moment knowing that I was kind of contributing to that sort of iconic Meerkat advert. I was the one ensuring that those adverts were going live, and it was it was really palpable. Like the stuff that I was doing was getting beamed out there, and I felt like I was part of that chain, and it was made me feel like I was in the right place for sure.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much. It was really, really interesting to hear from Bede and Archid, and also for anyone, just to reiterate, Q&A, if you've got any questions for them as well, we'll be coming back to the Q&A section at the end. So big thank you from us. Very, very relatable. So thank you. And now we're just going to talk through the application process.
Yep, I can take this bit. So I think everything that was said just now, the most important thing is you're not expected to know everything about the industry or the application process. Part of this program is to help you understand that. You can ask questions, be paired with mentors so that they can guide you. So that's what this is really there to do. Now, onto the application part, we're going to follow up with a form where you're going to be able to do this. So you're going to get the actual link to do that. I think I mentioned the deadline before, which is the 4th of September. So you've got this question here. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to be on the form. Take some time just to answer it. You've seen some of the people on here. So if you've got questions, you can always message us as well. So yeah, have a go at it. And we'll let you know straight away once the deadline is closed. Over to Kate.
Yeah, so there you go. So you've seen the question. We've put a QR code there if it's easier, but there is an email coming out that will follow up with you. The key thing is the 4th of September. So it's not far away, the 4th of September, but it's not hopefully going to be too onerous on you either. We're looking to get the first cohort, 30 people on board, ready and told by the 11th of September. And that will be an invite, obviously, to the workshop that will kick it off. So it should only take 5 to 10 minutes. We'd love you to give it a go, and we'll be in touch with you very soon after. We'll just leave that one actually for Chris to finish up.
Good. Yes, thank you, Kate. So really, we set out today in polls aside, we set out today to get you kind of interested in this program. And encourage you to apply and hopefully be part of the first cohort. The objective of the whole webinar really has been primarily to explain 3 things: the what, the why, and the how, and hopefully we've kind of done that. But we also wanted more than that and to inspire you to join by hearing real people and their very real journeys. So thank you to Archard and Bede for sharing that, because I know at this stage of your life, although for me, it was quite a long time ago, but I still remember it's quite a stressful time. Every generation has its talent, and that's what you got to remember. And we want to make sure that we develop this generation's. Whatever the circumstances, challenge us all in the short term, and we've explained why. And you don't need a rocket scientist to know what the circumstances are that are challenging at the moment. So really our message today is kind of apply, and really the very best of luck in getting selected to be the first in the first cohort. So I'm going to just go back now to the Q&A, which I think the first bit is a bit of statements, which is what I asked for really, which is so I've only got one question, so I'll leave that at the end. But if you've got any more questions, please put them into Q&A now. But it was just going back to the poll that didn't work, and we asked you some areas. We were trying to get some feedback from the people on the webinar. I see Lauren said that for her, one of the most frustrating things is the lack of feedback you get from job applications. Understandably, they get large volumes of applications, but when you get rejections and no feedback, it's hard to know what to change. I don't know whether any of the Liberty Hive experts, Kate and Laura, want to comment on that. I'm turning it into a question from a statement. Yeah. But whether there's any sort of areas you want to just sort of comment on that, because I hear you probably get that feedback from applicants.
Yeah, I mean, this is an area we feel really passionately about, isn't it, Kate?
Yeah.
And I know Kay will have something to say on it, but just going back to the beginning when you said we were a tech company, and it's a really important point because we're a tech company with a human voice. And that's why we say we use AI to help us and technology to help us so that it frees up our time so that we can talk to people and we can ask employers for feedback, because we hear too often that people aren't getting any feedback. So that is something that we're very proud at Liberty Hive, that we really, there's no doubt that sometimes we don't do as well as we could, but we strive to provide that feedback. It's really important part of the journey. So yeah, Kate, I don't know if you've got something to add.
Yeah, no, I mean, all our jobs, we always say, if you haven't heard anything, and we always encourage our clients to do that, you can always reach out to one of the team at Liberty Hive, and we'll always know exactly where that job is in the process, who's been shortlisted, why you may not have got shortlisted, and we'll always do that feedback, because that's where you learn and understand what might need to change, or whether or not you're applying for the right job in the first place. There might just be a mismatch there, and we can help direct you towards the right role.
Yeah. And then Christina stated really that many entry jobs are asking for 2 to 5 year experience, and most of my graduates, I presume Christina's uh, uh, some form of teacher, don't have that when they graduate. So it's hard for them. Many apply for around 80 to 120 jobs. Wow. Most will start applying now as they return into their third year of university. But the most, and this is going back to Lauren's point, the most frustrating thing is most get ghosted, don't hear anything back when they have, even when they follow up with emails. So it's a similar thing. I guess the point here, or turning it into a question for anyone who wants to answer on the team, is the ultimate catch 22. How do you get the 2 years experience when this is your first job? This catch 22 has been going for hundreds of years, by the way. But particularly now with the volume of applicants and less jobs, it's even more so hard to stand out.
Yeah, and I guess that's where First Flight's coming in, because although it's not a 2 year experience, what we're going to teach you is, a little bit more about the industry, try and make introductions and prepare you so that maybe that will catch someone's eye and you get that first internship or something. So it feels like this program, and that's what we're trying to do, is give you that first step in order to then stand out, to get that first role that leads to the second role that gives you that experience. But it's tough, isn't it? It's catch 22 at the end of the day. But I think joining more programs like this and getting more involved where you can in terms of learning about the industry, making those connections is going to be key.
And one thing I'll add to it,
Sorry.
because I've been doing a lot of the hiring and trying to speak to a lot of applicants as well lately. I find that those with a bit of a side hustle or things that can link to the work they're doing stand out a little bit more. So, the fact that you run an Instagram channel for your university or whatever it might be, it stands out to me a lot more than other things. So there's some more subtle things that you can get involved in that make you more employable as well, is what I've seen. And obviously the program is there to help.
Yeah.
Good. And then just about on time, what type of activities will we be doing in the workshop? And I'm going to pass over to James for this.
Yeah, I touched on it a little bit, but we've really tried to tailor those 2 days to be really intense in a good way, so that you're getting access to lots of different things and you can ask questions. We're going to have a bit more of an interactive sessions around AI skills, around presentation training, self-assessment, but we're also going to do a live brief. So you'll be able to answer it in groups as answering a challenge of a client challenge. That means that you can work to understand how does it work in marketing. So how do you understand the audience? How do you do some competitor research? What are some creative ideas that you can come up with? And we'll have what we call TMM ambassadors, which is one of us with some mentors as well there on the day as well to guide you. So you'll have a real understanding of what it's like to work on a real client problem.
Great. And we just had a late entry to the Q&A. What will we be looking for in terms of soft skills on the application, i.e. willing to learn, confidence, etc.? Does anyone want to grab that? I think one of the points of the question is kind of why you want to work in this industry, and I think some of that will come out hopefully, but I don't know whether anyone wants to add to that. It is important, is the answer.
Well, I think, this application isn't about a really long-winded application that's really hard. It's basically a chance to stand out and show your passion. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that, haven't necessarily got all the answers, but just have that. It's about a mindset, I suppose, and showing us that mindset. James, we were talking about that the other day, weren't we? So it's a softer skill that's harder to exactly pinpoint, but passion, enthusiasm, kind of willingness to stand out and push yourself out there. And that should be reflected in your applications. I don't know, James, Kate, if you've got anything to add to that.
No, I totally agree. And it comes back to James's point, really. It's showing those sort of things that you're doing at the moment. We're not looking for someone that's already had the 2 years experience doing stuff. We're looking for someone that is literally at the start, but showing what you've done at uni, what have you done at school, stuff, what have you done to try and get there so far, along with that passion. And the two kind of go hand in hand. If you're passionate, you're probably already doing some stuff already. So that's the sort of thing we're looking for, I'd say.
Good. Okay, well, we are excited by this program. it's both a scary time for you guys but an exciting time as well. We want to really help you along the journey, mentor you, coach you, teach you. We would love nothing else than be at some party in about a year or two at a free bar, because that's part of media training, is to find a free bar, particularly on a Thursday, is someone to come up to us and say, thank you to First Flight because we found a way into this industry and it's going really well. So that would be a massive success for us. So we are fully behind it, and we're really looking forward to the applications. So anyone else want to say anything before we close?
No, good luck.
Good luck, everyone. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Best of luck,
See you later.
everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.